military, we're always taught to push, push, and leave nothing left behind. You know, pick up those that are falling and keep right on trucking on. You know, when you come here, it's much the same way. You have to be motivated. You have to be willing to do your job no matter what the consequence, no matter what it takes to get the job done. You have to be ready, focused, and when the lead man is not there, you have to be ready to pick up that position and carry on from there, making sure everybody that got there goes home safely.
Each year in Hampton Roads, more than 13,000 personnel leave the military service. And each year, approximately 38% of those stay in this area, offering desirable skill sets to the workforce. Human resource professionals find the strongest qualities and competencies of transitioning military to be dependability, loyalty to the organization, personal work ethic, and character. High technical proficiency, particularly in areas of technology, security, intelligence, mechanics, and engineering. Naturally, the business community is looking for ways to better prepare and attract these valued workers. Hello, I'm Jeff Barba. Joining me in the studio are three individuals who stand on the front lines of this effort. Julie Gifford, Regional Military Liaison from the Office of the Secretary of Veterans Affairs and Homeland Security for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Judy Begland, President of Opportunity, Inc., and Paul Pierce, a retired Master Chief Petty Officer and a member of the Virginia Beach Military Economic Development Advisory Council. Thank you all for being here. Paul, let's start with you. You've been there. Tell us a little bit about your military experience.
Well, I think my military experience was typical of a lot of people. I came into the military's always offered opportunity to people, and they recognize that. Skills training, growing up, getting a work ethic. And so those are the things that attracted me, and not to mention a paycheck. That's always a nice thing that people like to have. So in that regard, I think my experience was pretty typical of a lot of people. I didn't really intend to stay, but you know, as they continued to offer additional training, experience, opportunity to see the world, it's really something that's kind of hard to pass up in some respects. So in that respect, I think my experience is typical of all of our veterans probably. So.
How well prepared did you feel that you were for entering the civilian workforce when you left the military?
You know, it's an interesting question, and I think there are really kind of two parts to the answer. One is that I think that skill-wise, I think I was very prepared. I think, you know, you learn tenacity and perseverance and what a long work day is. In the Navy, for example, the standard Navy work week is 80 hours when you're out at sea, so, and you can't quit. And so you learn a lot of great personal qualities, and then you pick up technical skills. Another thing I think is really appreciated and that was valuable was that you learn to work with all sorts of different people, you know, different races, black, white, Hispanic, young, old. And so in that respect, I thought I was very well prepared. What I wasn't as well prepared for was I'd obviously been inside the military system. And so I had never really had a really meaningful civilian job. The vocabularies are different. What they call things, how they operate is different, so the attributes were good. But the awareness of the private sector and government jobs outside the military, that's something that was uncharted territory for me. So I think for a lot of people, that's a common experience where you have to have some grooming and you have to have some help when you transition. So.
Julie, let's take a look at this issue through the state's eyes, if we could. What's the Commonwealth's role in these type of efforts?
Keeping veterans working and living in Virginia is a top priority for the governor. And he felt so much that he elevated our office in the 2011 General Assembly to a secretariat level. So we're Secretariat of Veterans Affairs and Homeland Security, and I work for Secretary Terry Suit. And so she and the governor have made it a top priority to keep veterans working and living in the Commonwealth.
So the General Assembly then plays a role in this because there's been some legislation that's been passed that kind of assists in these efforts for these exiting servicemen and women, correct?
Yes, there was legislation passed last year. One is for the DMV to recognize on an applicant's their military training they received while they were in the service when they go for a commercial driver's license. A second one was for the state's higher education boards to recognize military education that they received while in the service and apply credits towards that. And the third was for certain regulatory boards to recognize military training and education when they go to apply for certain positions and recognize that training as long as it meets with the current laws that are already in place.
Great. Let's take a look at a real example, one that captured the headlines and affected this entire region, the closing of the Joint Forces Command in Suffolk. This affected thousands of workers and military contractors. What did the state do because of the impact of that closing?
Due to the disestablishment of Joint Forces Command, we applied for a Department of Defense Office of Economic Adjustment grant, where we subgranted to the City of Suffolk in order to open up a GIFCOM Transition Center. Over 80% of the workers we were seeing were former veterans. So we have applied a lot of the services at that center to help them find new positions towards veterans. We've partnered with Opportunity, Inc. on the services that are available there, and the Virginia Employment Commission also has a workforce counselor in there to help provide services to these workers.
Right. Judy, tell us a little bit about Opportunity, Inc., and also the role that you all played in the GIFCOM disestablishment.
Well, Opportunity, Inc. was established by the chief local elected officials of Southampton Roads, really with a recognition of the importance of a trained and qualified workforce that would really further the economic development potential of Hampton Roads. We are funded federally by the Department of Labor and really have worked in such a positive way. It's been our pleasure to work with the Governor's Office and Julie with the Joint Forces Command. We run one-stops, and what a one-stop really is where job seekers can get assistance from multiple agencies in one place. So Veterans Affairs reps are there. We have our own employees there who are career counselors who can work with individuals who are looking to transition out of the service, looking for that next career and that next opportunity. And so with that said, we are really have long-served veterans, but we recognize at this point in time there's just so many veterans exiting that we are really customizing many programs with some of the things we've learned with the Joint Forces Command, with special workshops and special assistance that they need that's unique to them and their situation.
What do you see as being the biggest challenges facing these servicemen and women as they leave the military and they come to you?
Excuse me. You know, Paul mentioned identifying their skills in civilian terms, and I think that's the most obvious challenge for them and for all of us. But I think for many of them, they've never interviewed for a job. They've never really thought about a career choice beyond the military and what might that be. So I think we have workshops, we call it Job Search 101, you know, how to find a job, that's simplistically, but how to write a resume, what are interviewing skills, and we're also setting up workshops specific for veterans alone that we think will be more customized to their unique, like I mentioned, circumstance.
Now, Paul, are those challenges, well, that's pretty much mirrored and pretty much typical for what you went through when you got out?
I think so. You know, just as a kind of a story to illustrate that, when I first went in the military, they asked me if I wanted to be a fire controlman. And I thought, as a civilian, I don't want to fight fires. I don't want to be a firefighter. I wanted to go into electronics. Well, in the military, that is electronics. And so there is this constant whole separate vocabulary that has to be translated going in and coming out. And Judy's exactly right. That's one of the one of the premier things that I think is a barrier for some people, just how to translate it and to take some of the skills and attributes they have that and put it into civilian language so that they know how to go out. So I think that's a very, very common experience that a lot of people have, and certainly I had it when I got out. So.
Now, Judy, Opportunity, Inc. is there for these servicemen and women as they're getting out. What more can you all do to kind of tackle these challenges that they're facing?
Well, you know, we are in the process, we hope, of bringing more financial resources to bear with possibly setting up a standalone, a center that is specifically for veterans. And we had done that in the past many years ago to service both veterans and military spouses. So we have experience there and maybe continue the work at the Joint Forces Command. But I think I mentioned customized workshops. I think being more aggressive maybe with the ombudsmans and whatever within the Navy in particular in getting word to the service members on what they can do before they get out. So we're open to working and have worked with individuals like Paul to try to get as much feedback as we can to really customize and maybe better offer what is needed.
Great. We're going to take a break, but we're going to return to continue our discussion on this important topic in just a few moments.
There are services in our department here in economic development. Two resources that come to mind specifically is an organization called SCORE. These are retired senior business executives, and they come in twice a week and counsel and provide services to those that are interested in becoming entrepreneurs. Also regionally through the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce, there's the Small Business Development Center.
To have that kind of firepower in terms of our people who live here and care about the community, and have them step up on a voluntary basis to help with economic development was certainly a great opportunity, and probably an opportunity that there's, you know, maybe no other community that has that.
Welcome back to our discussion regarding challenges and opportunities for those leaving the military service and entering the civilian workforce. Julie, how can businesses connect with military members who are considering leaving the service?
Well, back in June, the Virginia Department of Veteran Services just recently launched the Virginia Values Vets, the V3 initiative. And it's a place where businesses can go and learn how to hire, retain, train, and keep veterans working in their workplace. And the website for that is virginiavaluesvets.com.
Have you received, I know it's a new initiative, but have you received some interest on this already?
Yes, we have like over 40 businesses already involved, so.
Oh, excellent. Now, Judy, how does Opportunity Inc. kind of enhance or complement those type of efforts from the state?
Well, we were so excited to hear the governor make this announcement and the Department of Veterans Affairs, because what we really are looking for is to know who out there in the employer field are really anxious and recognize the importance of what veterans bring to the workplace. So they are going to be a referral list for us as we help job seekers in our one-stop. But clearly with veterans, so many of them coming out have many of the skills already that are in high demand in Hampton Roads. If they don't have the skills, or if they want to completely do something differently than they've done in military service, we have financial resources to retrain and retool them to a new career. So I think I always say once they step out of the service, I hope they step in to the one-stop system here in Hampton Roads to support their efforts.
Great. All right, Paul, MEDAC, or the Military Economic Development Advisory Council, thank you. Who are you, or who are these people, and what do they do?
It's a council, advisory council that the city put together several years ago, and its purpose really was to help the civilian leadership of the city government to understand the impact of the military in Virginia Beach in particular, Dam Neck, Little Creek, certain Joint Expeditionary Base, and that impact. And just to explain it, kind of like Judy had said earlier, it's that crosstalk of what do they actually do on these bases, and how many people are there, and what is their impact on the city of Virginia Beach, and also the impact of the city on those installations. So it's an advisory council for the city council and for the mayor. And the mayor sat in quite a few of our meetings, and some of the council members. And its purpose is really just to advise them and get that dialogue going so that everybody can see a little more clearly how we're all interrelated.
Judy, what can military personnel do to seek potential employment here in either Virginia Beach or Hampton Roads?
Before they get out, they can certainly come to the one-stop centers. At the one-stop centers, we can really help them learn how to do online job search. So whether they're out at sea or on shore, and of course that's Navy, but any of the military branches that we have here in Hampton Roads, we have them all, can begin to learn how to do job search. They can already attend workshops. You don't have to be out to attend workshops on resume writing, on how do I hone my interview skills. We have a jobs board on our website where we post jobs where employers have come specifically to us and asked us to find candidates, so we can become a direct candidate referral. So any of those are are available now. And, you know, as Paul said, he uses Google, which I know is a simplistic answer, but there are so many resources available to veterans. I would like to say, though, that I think Fleet and Family Services and organizations like Opportunity Inc. can really help veterans bring that together for them so they don't feel too overwhelmed by everything that is out there and available.
Are military members leaving the service, are they finding the opportunities for work here in Hampton Roads growing?
I would say they are growing, and I want to be quick to say everybody knows the economy has been lousy, right? But that does not diminish the recognition that when you are talented and you have the right skills, there are jobs. And so I don't want people to be discouraged before they even begin, because the reality is we have a lot of demand for manufacturing and production workers, for the port facilities, for healthcare, for technical and business services. A lot of the experience men and women have garnered during their military service. So I would tell them to be optimistic and, to Paul's point, recognize you got to work hard to find a job and just be willing to put the time in, and it will be there.
Paul, how can viewers find out more about MEDAC?
MEDAC as part of the economic development activity of the city of Virginia Beach, but there's a website, it's Yes Virginia Beach, perfect acronym, or like Judy said, I'm a big fan of Google, so if you're not sure, you can spell out MEDAC, M-E-D-A-C, and look it up. And there's lots of good information, lots of links to some other sites that the state offers and that Opportunity Inc. has, so it's a great website.
And Judy, obviously service members want to find out more about Opportunity Inc. How can they do that?
Well, our website is opp-inc.org. So please access that site. There are phone numbers. We're linked to the governor's office, to other resources for the military. So come on, and if you have any questions, there's phone numbers on there, so please call.
Right. And Julie, where can we find more information about the state's efforts?
Okay, well, there's the GIFCOMtransition.com website, and there's also the VirginiaValueVets.com website too.
Well, great. Julie Gifford, Judy Beglin, Paul Pierce, thanks so much for coming together to discuss the challenges and opportunities for a workforce transitioning from military to civilian life. I really appreciate you all coming together to do this. To our viewers, thanks for watching. I'm Jeff Barba.
Our veterans have the unique skill of an excellent work ethic. They show up on time and they give you a full day's work for a full day's dollar. They have developed the ability to be trained in a multiple discipline role in the military. And they understand how to be a productive member of a team.